Hi guys, welcome to the world is your bowl of noodles, slurp noodles, and chat. Today I am the host Jordan Ibukwe, and welcome to the Noodle Pod. Today we have a very special guest. Please give it up for Grasen Menns. He's a wonderful youth advocate, but he is a community advocate for Mississauga Valley, the human resource coordinator at Project Apollo Association, and 100 Youth Ambassador Cohort 2 2025. Please give him a round of applause. He's absolutely amazing. Please go check him out. Grayson, is there any social media platforms you want our viewers to go check you out?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. All you gotta search up is just Grasen Menns, Grasen. Should be the first person to pop up. You can also find my Instagram, Grayson 2025, I believe is my Instagram handle, where I'm gonna start posting, day in the life and youth advocate stuff.
That's wonderful. And I'll tell my viewers out there to go check you out. And please go support both our initiatives. We're both young, whether you're just wanting to make an impact all around the world. So please go help us out. And just thank you guys for being here. And let's get into the episode. All right, Grayson, I know I did touch on who you are, but do you want to tell our audience personally who you are and just what you do?
Right. My name is Grasen Menns. I'm 14 years old. I'm based in Mississauga, Canada. And I am a youth advocate. And I do youth advocacy in a lot of ways. I do it in music education as well as medical education and opening pathways for youth. And some of the things I do is, like you said before, Project Apollo, where I'm a human resources coordinator. At Project Apollo, we work to provide better music accessibility for kids across Canada. And there, I'm currently leading the program development to develop our programs like traveling instruments, our music academy, and that stuff. I also work at Dr. Interested, which I just funny enough got a promotion yesterday. I'm the deputy director of human resources and the culture and recognition team. So there we do work on music, not music education, medical education, and opening pathways for youth, um, and opening doors for kids and allowing people to grow and have a career in medicine. And on my team, we make sure that people feel seen and people feel recognized within the workplace, and that people here at Doctor Interested feel appreciated.
That is wonderful. I actually interviewed Adil Muki on my podcast. So it's honestly amazing how you guys are just continuing to further the initiative of Dr. Interested in Canada. And also, if my guests who are not my guests, but my viewers who are watching, please go check out the Dr. Interested, the nonprofit organization. If you are interested, they're amazing, incredible, and they're helping many youths all around the world and especially in Canada. So please go check them out. I will link them below. And I do want to go into the first question, and I want to know. You hold leadership roles across school, community advocacy, and nonprofit work. What moment made you realize you wanted to step up and lead rather than stay on the sidelines?
Um, I can't place a specific moment, but I will kind of talk about some stuff that has kind of moved me into these leadership roles. And I've always been that person that takes charge, that goes ahead and says, "Hey, if there's a problem and we do need to fix it, let me help. I'm always here to help." And you know, I always did that in my school community, especially when I was in elementary school. And so when I was like, I want to do more and I want to take up like a leadership role. And I always thought of like charities or NGOs. And I was like, maybe I should start my own. I was really young at the time, so it wasn't necessarily feasible. But then I found out, wow, there's a whole world of youth-led non-government organizations and civil societies that youth can join. So that's when I did join, Project Apollo. I joined in grade 8. I was 13. I was the youngest member, I believe, ever in Project Apollo. And I still am the youngest member in Project Apollo. And I believe Dr. Interested as well. Um, but I think, going into these positions, it just really has allowed me to see, wow, there's this whole world of youth that,
Right.
want to do good.
That is amazing that you took the initiative at a very young age to just want to step up and lead. I feel like, of course, we have this like idea that at a young age, it is sometimes dreams are hard to attain because we don't, well, we do know a lot of what we want, but it's like, how do we get there? Like, who can help us with? And I love that you said, you know what, I'm going to step up and I'm going to take that and I'm going to look for places where I'm going to be the leader. And you also found your own voice in those areas as well that helped you get to where you are now, which is amazing. And I do want to know that I know that you are a drama RAP member and student rep. How has being involved in arts shaped the way you communicate, advocate, and show up for others?
Um, that's a really good question. Um, so I've always loved arts. I remember my first time that I really fell in love with the arts, and it was seventh grade. And I had an amazing music teacher. She's changed my life so much. And I remember I used to play the drums. I don't anymore, but I played it for 2 years, and I was terrible, terrible. But the one thing she said that I'd always do while playing the drums was overthink it. And she would say, feel the beat or feel it in your heart. And I'd say, what are you talking about? Like, how can I feel something? Like, I had no idea. But over time, I played and I played and I actually understood what she meant by feeling the beat, by understanding how the song played. And I was like, wow, music is kind of magical. It's magic. And I grew up um, I'm mixed race, so my father's Jamaican, my mother's Polish. So I've always had that cross cultural blend of music in my household. Um, and I've always been able to experience it. And also in seventh grade, I remember did drama. I wanted to be an actor. I still kind of do, but I remember I had a drama teacher. She was also a great drama teacher. And she's like, Grayson, you need to go and you need to pursue this because you are such a good person drama. So that's what I did. That's how I went to the regional arts program and am doing dramatic theater now. And I think art is such a beautiful thing for kids to experience. That's kind of why I got into Project Apollo.
That's amazing. I do touch on when you spoke about drums, feeling the beat. Well, mine was more of like mine was actually kind of in sports area, but really after time as I grew into learning like volleyball and just how to play it, I was like, I see how you like what they mean about like learning the like steps and stuff. But for you, it was more of like having like you had to learn, of course, that's what we all do, but you gradually understood the purpose of what it meant to feel the beat and like the symbolism behind it. Because of course, you know, you have to know like understand the rhythm and all that stuff. But when you got into it, it's like, you know, there's more to this than just playing drums. It's actually allowing yourself to feel and be heard. And of course, with drama too, I have a lot of friends who are in theater, and it's like when they express themselves on stage, it's really powerful the moments when they're actually living in the character. So I honestly touch on like the arts is just amazing field just to be passionate about and to learn and be more courageous. I want to know, what does community advocacy in Mississauga Valley actually look like in your day-to-day life? And what impact are you most proud of so far?
Well, I think um, you know, I haven't been solely focused on Mississauga Valley as a whole, but more just advocacy in Mississauga. So I will say that I think impact that I've done, or not I've done, but been able to experience is just the amazing initiatives through all these NGOs. Like I'll say one thing: Mississauga Youth Action Committee. They are a like city recognized youth advocacy group that works with the city hall and our mayor and our city councilors and our city controllers. And they do a lot of things for Mississauga. They usually always host a youth fair every year. I've been able to go for the past 2 years. And it's such a wonderful thing because it allows youth to actually, yeah, again, see and open doors and to meet a lot of youth NGOs. And me and Project Apollo has been going for the past 2 years. I believe Dr. Interested went to the one last year. And there's just such great, initiatives around Mississauga, like Music for Every Child, which is another group that does music therapy for special needs individuals in education. Um, and, just being able to see, wow, there are so many people who are doing great things in Mississauga and are working to build a better, um, area for Mississauga, build a better, place for um, Canadians and children, especially in education. Um, like I here at Project Apollo, we've been able to do concerts. Like one of our major flagship operations is concerts, and being able to see people who come out from all places, because we usually do our concerts in Toronto, but people come from Oakville, which is a decent place away, or Mississauga, and just all over, and seeing them be able to experience these, what I call them, child prodigies, because they blow me away. Like, wow, they were such good performers, and they are such good performers. And them being able to see music, and experience it, and see, like, hey, kids, we have a lot of real talent. We have a good future, and it's now or never to support it.
That's amazing because I really do touch on that story, and I love that you really do love like your community is connected. Everyone is together, and I love that you can really that the youth are given a spotlight, especially in music and just the arts and a lot of areas. And so it's amazing how like everyone in the community you get to witness that like just impact being like everyone's just there. And also it's great for the youth as well because they're being heard, they're being seen, and it's giving them a voice as well to say like my voice matters, and it's just amazing for that like opportunities. And I do want to know, working as a human resource coordinator at Project Apollo Association is a big responsibility. How do you balance professionalism with being a youth leader in youth-centered spaces?
I think, one of the things, um, at the end of the day, we're all kids.
Yeah,
We all have lives. We all have, things to do. Like right now, January is Canadian testing season. Right now, we have our CPTs, our performance tasks for all of our courses. We have our final exams in the third week of January. The first week we're back, we have CPTs. Um, and it'll be the same thing next semester. Earlier on in the year, you have OSSLTs for grade 10, which is our literacy test. You have EQAO, which is our national testing standard, which I've actually worked for EQAO before, on their engagement committees for students. Um, and I think it's just to understand, we want to do good work. Um, and we can't stop moving, but sometimes we have to slow down, because it will always be a marathon, not never a sprint. Because really, there's no I like to use this example. In our work, you can never sprint because there's never a finish line,
right.
because you're gonna hit 1 mile marker, then 5, then 10, then 20, then 30. There will always be a new goal. So us just starting to get the ball rolling, and whatever that may be, um, is good work. But we have to slow down. We have to take care of ourselves, and we can't overextend ourselves, because we're only as good, um, as the person next to us, as the person beside us. So if we're all tired, if we're all burnt out, that does nobody good. It doesn't help our community. It doesn't help us, and it just has adverse effects. Um, and I've been fortunate enough to know, like, Project Apollo, and Doctor Interested do take breaks during a winter break right now, which is where we are. Um, I know Project Apollo does break for summer break. I'm not sure about Doctor Interested. I've only worked at Doctor Interested for about 4 months now. Project Apollo, I've worked for 9. Um, and yeah, so it's slowing down. Treat it like a marathon, never a sprint. Get the ball rolling. Keep hitting those goals. Keep hitting those mile markers. And the more we do, the better we can serve our community. But we're only as best as the person who's beside us.
Right. And just like, especially right now in my junior year, I'm right now having my SAT, like a lot of like my big tests. I have my biliteracy test coming up for Chinese. So it's a lot. Of course, I feel the same academic pressure that you're feeling right now. And it's great that you take the time and just like the break, of course, from your initiatives to really focus also because you're a student as well. And so you have to balance a lot of what you're doing with your initiatives. So it's nice that you actually give your that time space because a lot of youths they kind of burn themselves out and don't take breaks and that will lead to like other issues as well if they don't like take the time. Of course, mental health is also important. So I love that you really do take the time to give yourself a break, to balance out everything that you need to do, but also have enough time to serve your community and be the best leader that you can. And I do want to take a quick little break and tell our viewers out there, please go support Grayson and his initiatives. I will link his LinkedIn below and also Dr. Interested and all the other organizations that he's working for if you are ever interested in working for them. And also please go check out the Warriors Bowl Noodles. It's amazing. We are both young and like I always say, we are young and we are needing your help to further our initiatives to continue what we're doing now. So please go support us, go help us, and let's go make an impact. And thank you again for watching, and let's get back into the episode. All right. So I would do want to get more into skills, and I want to know what skills have you developed through HR work that you think more young people should learn earlier?
Um, I think some of the stuff I've learned through human resources is communication. Um, I think in kind of today's society there is problems in communications for youth, whether that's emotionally or literacy wise, and this has been a not even a problem. I call it an epidemic, an issue that's been going on for a long time. But I think you having communication skills and being able to apply yourself with those skills is always a great thing. I've been able to learn in human resources patience, because in human resources you're dealing with people,
Yes.
uh, and sometimes it's the good, sometimes it's the bad, sometimes it's the ugly. But at the end of the day, you gotta be patient with people, and you have to be kind. You have to be generous, and let you can never push somebody to do something that they don't want to do.
Right.
Um, so in HR, you kind of have to say like, okay, and you sit back and say, this is what I believe. Um, and this is how I believe we should go about things. But obviously, there are other people with other opinions in other departments that may have different ideas, that may have different goals. Um, and sometimes it can really suck when you have these ideas, when you provide these things, and then maybe somebody in a different department says, well, I have a different goal for these things that you've given me. We're gonna right? It kind of sucks. So you have to have that patience. You have to have that temperance to say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and let's move forward, and then let's do better. Let's do what we're here to do. I think.
Yeah, you're of course human resources. It says it in the name human. Humans
Yes.
are not perfect. We are our own humans. But what did I just say? I don't even know. But we are, like you said, we have to be patient. We have to show communication. And I believe just what the youth we need to start building more of. Of course, we're doing, I feel like a little bit better, but with technology, with phones, communication kind of lacks a lot with social media as well. So having that like interaction physically and talking to people, like saying how I feel about this, because I have noticed that with Generation Z, we tend like of course, I think there was a study done on our mental health that we have like the lowest mental health due to just social media, to a lot of stuff in our environments. And so communicating with people around us, people who care and want to know our voices, like is also a good thing too. And having patience as well. Being a teenager, you have to be patient with your classmates, with your parents, with your siblings. It's a lot that you have to be patient with. And especially with the world around us, so it's like something that we have to like learn as we get older. But I do like those 2 points that you pointed out, and I feel like with also working with HR, I feel like you also have to build some confidence as well, because yes, people are going to tell them how they feel and what they want, but you also have to say, well, I also think this will be good too, and balance that, I guess. Like I wouldn't say passive aggressive, but you gotta be a little sturdy over there. Like you just can't be
Yeah.
like soft. So I do love that you pointed those two things out. And I do want to know, as a 100 youth ambassador, How has engaging with global education and innovation changed the way you think about youth voices and leadership?
You know, I will kind of talk back on what you said about mental health, and I will come back to that in just a second. But I will talk about 100 first. So 100 is it's a global kind of charity organization, and they do really good work. And the point of 100's youth ambassadors is for the ability for you to learn your skills. So during the class season, I guess I would call it, they taught you time management, they brought in guest speakers. There was always some sort of event going on every day. Um, as well as I would say, you know, you're also able to connect with alumni and with other people and just be able to connect so much. I think seeing what people are doing in global education, I remember there was one thing that I remember that somebody from 100 was doing. I've forgotten her name, I've forgotten her organization, but she was working to provide better education for um, women in Afghanistan. And that was such, I was like, wow. And you're a kid? Really? I was so, amazed. I was so shocked. I was like, wow, this is like kids of the future, and they're going to bat to, change these issues. I think, being experienced like in education and youth advocacy, mental health is a huge thing. Um, and I'm kind of circling back to what you said earlier on mental health. In Canada, we just passed a bill, Bill 33, which is to expand education. And it's a bill that most education advocates are against, for the reason is that it takes away education rights from school boards and gives them to the government. It also implements student resource officers, which is something that we don't have in Canada. In other countries like America, there are student resource officers, but we don't have SROs. But they are working to implement an SRO program, um, and a lot of people are against it. The Ontario Catholic Student Trustee Association, which here in Canada, by law, you are mandated to appoint or elect 3 student trustees. So they carry non voting rights, but are elected officials that carry kind of the same weight as trustees. And the Ontario Catholic Student Trustee Association has come out and said, we request that the government, rethinks this bill, takes it back, and we request an audience with the Minister of Education. And I think, coming into mental health and, funding this SRO program, but we also should also be funding mental health. There, um, a lot of our mental health workers work at multiple schools. So
Mhm.
they switch days. I've only met one child and youth worker in my time as an advocate and just going to school that has worked 5 days a week. So I think mental health is a goes hand in hand with education, and it's a huge thing that is, again, it's an epidemic. It's a something that needs better support, and we need to better support our youth.
That's amazing. And I actually didn't know that at all. I that was like it's kind of like it's sad that really much of our government doesn't take into consideration the youth and our voices and kind of just passes laws just to pass laws, but really they don't understand the effect that it might have on students and also the school environment as well. So I do love that you touched on that. And if anyone in the course was watching is educated or knows about this issue, please speak about it. Please like make it aware more so everyone around the world can know about it as well. Because issues like that is when youth need to start stepping up and as well advocating for what is right for them. And because they're the students, they're the one who are living this like life. And so we cannot just allow people in power who don't know anything about us to determine what is good for us. So thank you so much, Grayson, for touching on that. You're clearly involved in many spaces at once. How do you stay grounded and motivated without burning out?
I will say, I will touch on, grounded, and staying grounded in what you're doing is understanding the people you're representing. And luckily, I'm a lot more fortunate because I represent youth. I'm surrounded by them every day. Um, I get to talk to them. I get to understand. Grade representative at my school, grade 9 representative. Um, and so I can talk to, I can meet, I can, understand what's happening and how I can better support people. And I think, not getting burned out, I believe was the question. And time management, um, you know, is just um, taking time for yourself. It is always okay to say, I'm a bit tired. I need to take leave. I need to be out of office. I need to have a mental health day. I don't feel like I should go to school. Because you should take time for yourself to recharge, to rest, and make sure that you are best you can be, and just how should I put it? Yeah, take time for yourself. Even if you're on like winter break like we are now, or March break, or you know, summer break. Do something that you find relaxing. Have a staycation. Binge watch your favorite show. Like my favorite show is The Rookie. I'll binge watch that and I will be relaxed and I'll be happy. So take time for yourself and, just rest, relax, and be able to, still keep up with your goals and keep up with what you need to do. But don't feel ashamed or don't feel bad for saying, hey, I need a break.
Exactly. And that's also very important too. You're a kid. We are all kids. Like we're not adults in our 30s. We need the time to energy. And so it was just like relaxing. I feel like some things that a lot of people do struggle with. Like with the constant speed of like trying to get this done, trying to get that done. Sometimes you just need like a day or two of a break. And maybe if you need so a week, because right now we're on our winter break as well. And this semester has killed me. I say it all the time. I've never experienced nothing like this. And so I took a week and maybe a couple of days for myself and just went back slowly into my podcast to get stuff to started for the new year. So I truly do feel that. And my favorite show is SpongeBob. I would binge that like totally for a whole month. I'm obsessed with SpongeBob. So like you said, Grayson, just thank you so much for touching on that too. And anyone really who's experiencing just a lot of burnout, it's okay to take a break. You have every right so to say, I need to slow down. I can't go to school. And of course, mental health days are very important. So please take a break and build your energy up for what's next ahead of you because you got a lot of things ahead. And I do want to go into the second to last question. I want to know what's one misconception people have about youth leadership that your work actively challenges?
I will say that's a really good question. I would say, uneducated. And I think when, I go into youth advocacy, I talk about, these problems that youth are facing. A lot of people will say he doesn't know anything. He doesn't have a high school diploma. And you're right, I don't have a high school diploma because I am in high school. Um, or anything like that. But you don't I don't have to know trigonometry to know that there's a problem in youth.
Right,
Okay, I don't have to know everything. I don't need to know physics that there's a problem in youth education, that there's a problem in, you know, pathways for youth. And I think it is ironic that, sometimes people who can invoke change, who aren't youth, who don't know much about youth, can then say, you don't know anything
right,
about our struggles, but you haven't been a kid for 50 years. No offense. So I think it's less saying you don't know anything. I think it's more working together to educate those people who have not been a kid in 50 years, working together to educate people without high school diplomas. I joke about that, but educating youth and kind of, you know, bipartisanship in a way, coming together on whatever you stand for. It could be complete opposites, you could be complete age brackets, and sitting down saying that, hey, these are our issues that we're facing, and these are these issues that you are facing. Let's come together and let's work together. And when we work together, when we come together as, a team, a group, a society, we can invoke change. All we need to do is just kind of have that open minded, um, you know, mentality, sit down and say, hey, this is what's going on. Let's invoke change together.
Exactly. And just like you said, you don't need a paper. There's some people who have bachelor's and master's in whatever degree that they have and still don't understand the struggles of what we experience. They let their ego come upon them and say, well, I'm an adult. I know what I'm talking about. And I think the youth needs this, this. But I'm like, you haven't been like young in like maybe a decade. You don't know what we go through. And so when the youth say something, please, guys, take it into consideration because we're not lying. We're living in this reality. It's our own place. And very soon the world is going to be all ours. We need people to give us the platform. And so thank you, Grayson, for really touching on that. And if you're youth, don't ever feel like, oh, I don't know anything or I don't feel like I have enough information on this. Of course, the internet's free. Go Google it up, learn about it, educate yourself, but don't ever have the mentality that being young means you can't do anything about the world or help create new solutions. You have every right to. And so just really thank you so much for being here, Grayson. But I do want to touch on the last question, and it's a very funny little question. But I do want to know, what is your favorite bowl of noodles and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Ooh, my favorite bowl of noodles. I would say, I mean, technically it's a soup, but I think it's considered a bowl of noodles. I would say like pho, like Vietnamese. That's like me. Like if it's good Vietnamese food, that's me. I'm always there.
I
I would
love I like I also love udon. Udon is so good with some like chili flakes on it with some just give me that. And also like coming from a school day and then I see a box of because I'm Nigerian, so we eat this thing. I currently live in the United States, but we eat this thing called Indomie and it's just amazing. Like it's like, 1 minute chicken thing, but it's nostalgia in a pack. So it can't compare, but yeah, I love noodles, and the fact that I can combine noodles and my love for youth empowerment together in my podcast is honestly amazing. But thank you so much, Grayson, for being here. Your words are absolutely wise. Please keep making an impact, and I cannot wait to see the amazing things that you're going to do in 2026. And just please keep changing the world and the youth.
yeah. I just want to thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It was such a pleasure to come on here. It was very insightful questions. And you're an amazing host. And I've seen what your bowl of noodles has done. And it's a really good podcast. I encourage people to not only watch this episode, but I encourage everybody else to watch the other episodes and the episodes coming out. It's such a good podcast.
Thank you so much, Grayson. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day.